Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about continuous and discrete time signals. We have already defined signal system and signal processing, and then we have also classified different types of signals. In this lecture, our focus will be on introduction to continuous and discrete time signals. So let's begin with basic definition of signal again. As we know that signal is an entity or signal is a function that conveys some meaningful information about a phenomenon or an event. Any activity or an event or phenomenon is expressed or represented by a certain function or entity is called as signal. Say in telecommunications, the signal, which is voice signal or sound signal, which is communicated, that is transmitted either in the form of varying voltage, current, or electromagnetic wave. So that electromagnetic wave, voltage or current becomes signal for telecommunication application. Speech signal, whenever we produce certain voice from our mouth, so that is called as speech, which is produced by a speaker. So this is a pattern when you observe on the oscilloscope, the speech signal, it looks like this. It is not filtered or smoothed signal. It is the actual signal which is produced by the speaker. Then let's start with continuous and discrete time signal. As its name suggests, continuous signal will be continuous and it will be defined for all time t. If you see the diagram A, it is defined for all the values of t and it is continuous. We can clearly see that there is no discontinuity in all the time duration. So therefore, the signal which is expressed or written as xt is continuous for all the values of t. And what about discrete time signal? Discrete time signal, which is not continuous. You can see diagram B, the continuity is broken. The signal is discontinuous. So it is defined only at discrete time intervals, discrete instants or discrete moments of time. If you look at here, same signal being expressed or represented as discrete time signal. And generally it is represented as xn, which is equal to xnt, where that small t is actually replaced by small n into t, where t is the sampling time. T we can keep it as 1, it becomes xn. So n equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So for nth samples, n equal to 0, n equal to 1, n equal to 2, we can write x0, x1, x2, x3, x4, and so on. So these are the different discrete samples, and obviously we can see that there is a discontinuity which is existing in the diagram B, and therefore it is an example of discrete time signal. Whereas the diagram which is shown in A is the continuous signal because there is continuity over all the values of time. There is another example. See, there is a continuous signal xt represented as xn in the diagram, second part of the diagram, that is a discrete signal. So the continuous time signal is represented by generally, that is a general notation. Look at here, xt, and you see here xn. So we generally use parenthesis. The independent variable time here is in parenthesis, whereas the independent variable, which is index small n, is in square bracket. So the difference between this t and n is t is the independent variable time t, where n is the index, and this n will be always an integer. We can also write it as a small k or any other letter. So when we say n equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So if we write n equal to 1, first sample, n equal to 2, second sample, n equal to 3, third sample, we can also write n equals 0. That will be the sample which is present at origin. So this is how the continuous time signal and discrete time signal look like. examples of continuous time signal, all voltage, current, pressure, temperature, velocity signals, and most of the signals which we see in the physical world, most of the signals which we see in the physical world, all, we can also say, all natural signals are the continuous signals. All the natural signals are analog signals. You see the discrete time signal, the first one is continuous time signal. There is no relationship between part A and B of the diagram. This is a separate signal, which is discrete time signal. We are expressing it by xn, where n is an integer and time varies discretely. This is also a time. This is also the time variable, but this is expressed in terms of an index, an integer, and that varies discretely. It doesn't vary continuously like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. It varies from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The examples include DNA-based sequence, population of nth generation of certain species, or a price of a particular item in the market. It will always be the discrete time signal. Now, when we use the continuous time signal in our any analysis or signal processing, then we can express it by using sinusoidal representation or any other representation. So when we write sine t, where t is between 0 and 2 pi, this is a sinusoidal signal. So we can mathematically represent continuous signal either by using sinusoidal signal or any other function, mathematical function. So in this slide, there are two diagrams. Both are continuous. A signal can be represented as a function of one or more independent variables. There may be more than one independent variables as well. This is the example where you can see actually a picture or an image which is function of two spatial variables. So the independent variables may be one or two or even more than two. So why it is two in picture, we have already discussed in previous lecture. The image is always represented in terms of pixel values and pixel coordinates. So the position of pixel and the grayscale value of the pixel. Each pixel can be discretized. Each pixel is discrete. It will have a discrete coordinate system and discrete position and discrete intensity value also. And therefore, there are two spatial independent variables. What we are trying to understand here is the number of independent variables, maybe one or two, in representing the continuous time signal. You see here, there is a process which is called as, let's understand completely, sampling. When we are talking about analog signal and discrete signal or continuous and discrete time signal, what is the process which is or which plays most important role in converting analog signal into discrete time signal? That process is sampling. So sampling is a process which converts analog into discrete. Look at the diagram here. The signal is in the form of discrete. The signal is present at discrete intervals of time. Most common sampling is always periodic, where we write xn or xnt, where the small n, which is index, that may be less than infinity and greater than minus infinity. It means it may have any value from minus infinity to infinity, which is some integer value, where t here is the sampling time in second and sampling frequency, the number of samples, the number of pulses, the number of samples per unit time. How can we determine? It is 1 by t, where t is the second, is the sampling frequency in hertz. Sampling frequency radian per second means the frequency or the sampling frequency can also be expressed in radian per second. Then it is written as 2 pi into fs, omega s, ohm s, and the unit is radian per second. We generally use this dot for discrete time. Dot inside means some index inside a square bracket and some time variable inside the parenthesis for continuous time signal, like xt. The discrete time signal is written as xn and the continuous time signal is written as xt. is the representation. So this is one important picture. The process sampling is being highlighted here. So what is sampling? Sampling is a function which is actually a train of impulses. So in the sampling process, we generate impulse by using impulse train modulators. See here, xt, that is a continuous time signal. It is subjected to a sampler, and the sampling function is applied, and then the conversion of impulse train into a sequence. So it converts impulse train into discrete time sequence, and the signal becomes from xt to x and t. And look at here, this is xt. Now we sample the signal. So there is a sampling time t, 2t, 3t, 4t, and finally at -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, where these are the values of n. And finally we get the value, the signal in the form of discrete time signal. So there is actually a mathematical representation. We will discuss in detail in the next lecture that when we say sampling function, sampling operator is nothing but train of impulses. So the train of impulses is convolved, or we can in simple words say that multiplied by the original continuous signal, the signal becomes discrete time signal. So what is the process which is the most important process in order to convert continuous into discrete? The answer is sampling. Let's understand by using one example. Let's convert sound into number. Sound means our voice. We want to convert finally into digital signal. But before we convert digital signal, the first conversion is always the process which converts discrete continuous time signal into discrete. So in digital recording system, sound is stored and manipulated as a stream of discrete number. Look at here, the sound which we record through microphone is filtered, then it is passed through ADC, analog to discrete converter, then it is subjected to pre-processing stage. In fact, this ADC is analog to digital convert. And when we say analog to digital converter, it is analog, discrete, then digital. So analog to discrete, by sampling discrete to digital, quantizing and encoding are the two more processes involved, and all the three are the important components of ADC. And ADC and DAC need to be synchronized by using the clock so that the same pulse is reconstructed. And between ADC and DAC, there will be some processing elements or the storage elements. And finally, again, in order to reproduce the signal, filter can be applied, and by using the reproduction system like speaker, we can hear the sound which was recorded and converted into the form of discrete and digital signal. So each number represents the air pressure at a particular time when it is in the form of discrete time signal, because in continuous time we don't understand at what time what is the amount of pressure, but exactly at different intervals we can identify the equivalent number representing the equivalent amount of pressure that is applied in order to generate the sound signal. The numbers are generated by a microphone connected to a circuit called ADC. Each number is called a sample, and the number of samples taken per second is called as sampling rate, and we also sometimes call it as sample rate. Finally, the numbers will be converted back by using a DAC, and that is connected to the loudspeaker. And there is a very important theory about the number of bits. How many bits will be there when we convert continuous signal into discrete or digital form? So the number of bits depend on how many quantization levels are included. We have not discussed the quantization process in detail here, but that is very important. When we increase the number of quantization levels, more number of bits are there. What is important here? See, what is the role of number of bits, or what is the role of increasing the number of bits? When we increase the number of quantization levels, the number of bits also increases. And when you see, this is the input signal, which is voice signal. And when you compare with output signal, look at the output and compare with the input when there are 3 bits, 4 bits, 5 bits, and 6 bits. So you can clearly see that when the number of bits is more, the reconstructed output is looking more similar to the input. It means that is the reconstructed signal is of better quality when increased quality when the number of bits is more. It means when we want to have better quality signal at the output, good quality of signal at the output, the number of bits to be always is to be always high. And how can we achieve more number of bits? By increasing the number of quantization levels. But this is not that simple as we are talking, because when we increase the number of quantization levels, more and more number of bits will be required for each sample. So that increases the bandwidth requirement, and there are other things which are associated with increasing the number of bits. But one thing is very clear, that when we increase the number of bits, the signal quality is also enhanced. So sampling rate, the rate at which numbers are generated, is called as sampling rate. You see here sampling rate and how the samples are produced. If the sampling rate is less than the frequency we are trying to capture, the entire cycles will be missed and decoded result would be too low in frequency and might not resemble the proper waveform at all. There is a standard sampling rate, which is also called as Nyquist rate. And the Nyquist rate is equal to twice of maximum frequency of the message signal which we are transmitting. And if the sampling frequency is less than the Nyquist rate, there will be a problem in the reconstruction. And that process is called as aliasing. This is called as aliasing. The sampling rate must be therefore greater than twice the frequency measured for accurate result. That is also known as Nyquist rate. So when you want better recovery, a recovery with good quality of signal, then the sampling rate must be greater than Nyquist rate. What do we mean by Nyquist rate here? Nyquist rate is the rate at which the sampling frequency is 2 times the maximum frequency of the message signal or the modulating signal or the signal which is being transmitted or processed. So this is the table that is related with sampling rate. 8 kilohertz means 8,000 samples per second is generally used in telephone, walkie-talkie. 11 kbps, almost 11 kbps MPG audio. In voice over internet protocol, even more sampling rate is involved, 16 kbps, because you understand very well that we want to transmit video, we always need a good quality of video signal, and the bandwidth requirement will also be more in case of video as compared to audio, and therefore the sampling rate is also more. So if sampling rate is more, definitely the bandwidth required will be more. Then 32 kilohertz, that 32 kbps is wireless microphone or FM radio, frequency modulated radio. There the bandwidth is even more and the sampling rate is also good. And therefore we experience good quality of signal in VoIP or FM radio transmission. And when we look at, you see here around 2.8 megahertz, 2.8 mega samples per second is the sampling rate in digital streaming of Sony or any Philips or any other service providers. So in the digital streaming where we listen, when we watch a good quality of digital videos or digital signals, there the sampling rate is very high, and therefore the streaming at excellent quality is achieved, is possible. So let's conclude about this particular lecture. This lecture talks about continuous and discrete time signal. All the natural signals in the physical world are continuous signals, which are also analog signals. And analog signals are also used in numerous applications. But in digital era, in digital signal processing, in digital networking, in digital communication, in computer communication, digital signal processing and digital signals are used. And therefore we need digital signal, but we cannot convert analog signal into digital signal directly. So what we do, analog signal is converted into discrete signal by using the sampling process. And then it is subjected to quantization and encoding, and we obtain the signal in the form of digital. In the sampling, the frequency at which we sample is called a sampling rate, and the sampling rate must be always greater than Nyquist rate, where we define Nyquist rate as the rate at which the sampling frequency is twice the maximum frequency of message signal. And we have also seen in this lecture, more is the sampling rate, better is the quality of the signal which is being reproduced. But increasing the sampling rate has its own constraint, has its own limitation. It means when we increase the sampling rate, the bandwidth requirement will increase, and there are many more things which are associated with the increasing bit rate that we will discuss in subsequent lecture. So that's all for this lecture. Thank you.